Any minute now, it's gonna start snowing. And of course, all my junk's broken. So today I'm gonna entertain you with this 1970s Cadet snowblower that I've had for a few years. It hasn't ran for probably 3 or 4 years. I could probably get it running, but I've noticed a trend with these old snowblowers where when you get them running really good, they don't start whenever there's snow on the ground. This seems to have been a persistent issue with every one of these ancient snowblowers I've ever encountered. And this one's no different. It'll run like a top when you tune it up beginning of the winter. As soon as one flurry hits the ground, you go to use it though, it won't run. So, I'm gonna try something different. Going to put a Chinese special Harbor Freight Predator on this. I just went and picked one up. I was on sale for like $129.99, so whatever. Other than that, this thing's pretty decent. It's pretty heavy duty. I'm not a big snowblower expert. Years ago, one of my earlier videos, mine uploaded, I think this snowblower, another one I had. I got a bunch of snowblower aficionados yelling at me in the comments. So sorry if I'm not a real big knowledge base on these. But the only thing I have noticed is, for some reason, a lot of older snowblowers have Tecumseh engines in them. I'm probably even saying that to everyone's liking. This one has a Briggs motor, oddly enough. And I'm sure Cub Cadet didn't make it. I'm sure another company probably made it and whatever. But I'm gonna try and fandangle one of those Harbor Freight engines on this and see how it works. So if there's one thing that I know everyone loves, it's a freaking unboxing video. And I'm sure there's probably about 1,000 people unboxing these on YouTube already, but here's another one. So I just picked this up at Harbor Freight, as you probably know. And I know that there's something with like these being a Hemi versus a non-Hemi and people get really fired up over it. I just saw people being really fired up because I guess you used to be able to tell through like a handle hole that was in the box, and they stopped doing that so they can somehow shaft you over it. But whatever, let's open her up here and see how it is. I just saw they came out with a smaller one. It's like a 3 horsepower. And then they came out with one in between this and in between this one and the 420, oddly enough, but it's like $200 more. But let's see here. Ooh, we have directions for our 212cc horizontal engine. Smells like something, I can't put my finger on it. I don't know. It's like a smell from my youth. Let's see. Well, it actually came out of the box, which is nice. Let's see, we have a quick start guide. We have a thing yelling at us to use fuel stabilizer and to put oil in it. Doesn't smell like gas. Ooh, they lubed the shaft for us already. There actually is oil in it, but I've always been told to not trust the oil that any of these Chinese engines come with. But I don't know, it's an engine. I have no idea if it has the Hemi or not, if someone wants to yell at me about it. I'm not really sure how much it matters in this case, but I guess some of them are Hemi engines. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, we got a toolkit, which I think is just a spark plug wrench. And that's it. So I guess other than the quick start guide and the directions, I guess I'm on my own. Well, I guess first step here is going to be to remove this. Well, so far this is actually going a lot easier than I thought, which is probably a bad sign. But the engine actually unbolts with this plate. You don't have to go underneath the snowblower and try and undo nuts. There's captive nuts on the snowblower body, so you just blast the four bolts out, and the engine, this plate come right off, and you can access all the magic inside. So it's the same size shaft, which I kind of figured, but surprisingly this little like belt shield actually bolts on to the little 4-bolt pattern right here. So that will actually fit back on. And then the engine bolts are actually the same mounting pattern as what's already on there. So I'm just gonna bolt that together and then see how close everything else fits. I'm sure this is bound to not line up at some point, but so far it's looking like this might be pretty smooth. So I just buttoned this up and something really scary happened. It bolted right on. I was expecting to have to, I don't know, fiddle with something, but even the freaking belt cover bolted right back on where it belonged in the same bolt holes and everything. So this is actually a direct fit. I've done this before on one of these old ones, and like the chute shaft here hit the engine, this one goes right around it real nice. So yeah, it literally fit on without interfering with anything that I've noticed so far. And then I drained the Chinese oil out of it and put some Rotella in it. And upon further Googling, while I was waiting, I guess this is the Hemi engine, for whatever that matters. And I looked up the snowblower too, because I remembered there was something to it where someone else made it. This was Ariens or whatever, Ariens, whatever you want to pronounce it. They made them for Cub Cadet. Just for some reason, they didn't put Tecumseh engines on the Cub Cadets, they put Briggs on them, for whatever reason. But should be good to go. I wasn't really expecting to have this done this quick. I mean, oddly enough, this is a direct bolt on. I don't know how many old snowblowers this will be the case for, but in this case, it went right on. So I guess I'll fire it up here and see how many parts come at my face. Okay, that's choke. That's throttle. Maybe it's the right direction. Turn that on. Disengage the clutch. Okay, let's see what happens here. Well, I survived. So yeah, that was actually pretty painless, surprisingly. I thought this was going to be a bigger affair. You probably notice that something is messed up in there. I think the shaft that goes this way is bent. That's why it's doing the wobble. I just remembered it did do that before, and I haven't used a snowblower in so long I forgot that it did that. So we'll see how it works. It did work fine the last time I used it, if it started. It still blew snow and operated as it should. But yeah, not too bad. It was actually really easy. The good news is that this thing is junk with that bent shaft, that I have like 4 or 5 other snowblowers that I can put this engine on, or I could also fix them too. Nice thing about this is that the problem with the newer snowblowers I've noticed, unless you buy one that's a lot of money, they're made out of real cheap metal. And this part here, on like every single new one I see, ends up getting like folded in after like the first winter or two of hitting ice. And then Like everything's pretty thin. This part of the snowblower is made out of something like ridiculously thick. Like that's like 1/4-inch plate or something there, and then this stuff is pretty thick too. It's not like plate, but it's pretty thick sheet metal. Like a new one, you could bend that. You can't bend this one. But then the problem is that the engines on them have had a long history of not being maintained and etc., so they don't work. So I think it's a pretty good setup to have like a new engine that'll start on an old heavy-duty unit like this. But I'll wait for the snow and then try it out. Well, good news, I guess. It snowed. So it's a chance to try this out. The only thing is that this isn't quite snow. It's goop. It snowed and then it rained. So this stuff's pretty much like concrete. And that's all gravel. So I guess we'll see how good this throws gravel into my yard. Well, that wasn't too bad considering what I was working with. Everyone probably thought that sucked, but the thing is the snow today was like wet concrete. It's not the kind of snow you normally use a snowblower with. I actually plowed the rest of my driveway. I just wanted to move a little bit of snow just to see if the thing worked, because I just happened to mount the engine last night. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's a lot quieter than than the old engine was, and most of the older snowblowers I see. Fired right up. I chewed through one of the mounds that I had plowed, and it actually like went right through it. So I'd say the power is pretty good. But we'll see how it is when I get a reasonable snow, and then I'll try it out for real. But for now, I'm pretty happy with how this worked out.